Right. Okay, we're back. Okay. So many windows. God. Right. I'll turn that. Which one? Wrong one. That one. There we go. Okay, right. As you may remember, earlier today we were working on this machine here, which is a 600XL with Ultimate 1 megabyte, VBXE and stereo pokey, and I thought it was going to be a fairly quick job to fit this U-switch board, but the clearance issues are fairly significant. So I've moved the camera around a bit to try and get this slightly more close in cropped view. Oh, there's the mic falling out my pocket, so I'll just clip that back on. Very out of practice with this. This clip is rubbish. There we go. Right. That's better. I should clip it at the back. Probably be better. Yep. There we go. Right, all good. So, this preview is not big enough. Hang on a minute. I'll put you in the corner. Put you over here. Put you at the side. There we go, that's better. Now I can see what you see a bit better. So what I ended up doing, because the problem was that this U-switch board, which is an essential... Wow, that's close. I'm not used to the camera being this close. This board needed to fit, if we move this up here, it needed to fit underneath here, and the clearance is just... There's not a lot of room. I kind of pig-headedly don't want to move this to raise this up any further. I suppose anybody sensible would have checked the clearance on the top of the case, but the 600XL is tiny, and what you worry about is these IDC connectors. And I've taken the strain relief clips off, but you worry about them crashing into the back of the keyboard, and I don't have the top of this machine. The owner didn't send the top. Hi pensionné again, am I saying that right? Pensionné? Correct me if I'm wrong. So the owner didn't send the top half of the case in, so I can just sort of guesstimate whether it's going to be right, but I mean that will fit. So the plan originally was to mount this board on the bottom here, and I thought that would be fine, but that didn't work because the clearance was just, well, there was no clearance. So what I eventually did off camera, I had a careful number of test fits and things, and I figured out that the best way to do it was to mount it on the top, but with no or very limited clearance, and I'm hoping that there's obviously that there's no shorts there. I just put some very short pins through these holes, mounted this board on the top, soldered it on. Now I even had to trim the legs down, if we can see the legs on the underside of the IDC connector. I had to snip those down because when you put this in, well, I'll put it in and you can see why I've put shrink fit around this to insulate it. All will become clear, and hopefully it'll all work. I did get a bit of a fright earlier on because I went to test this machine because I also replaced what I should have done in the first place. I replaced the pokey socket, Lothar Exensivus socket for that as well, although I had plenty, but I was kind of being lazy and I was just going to leave the other one in, but the thing didn't seem to want to sit very well. So if we squeeze this in here, then you'll get to see why it's got insulation on it. But yeah, I got a bit of a fright because I turned the machine on, and the power supply, which is it's from a router or something, I forget. Is it an LG or yeah, maybe it's off an old TV or something. It was a 5-volt power supply, and the machine wouldn't come on, and the power supply light just blinked. Ricky El Kasem, how are you? So Pansy name must have been more or less correct. Very good. Why is my phone going crazy with noises? So where was I? Oh yes, the machine wouldn't power up. Let's get these. And yes, I've got to get this is a separate story about these pokey chips. I'll get into that a bit later on. I've mixed them up, unfortunately. I think this is the original one. Anyway, yes, machine wouldn't power up, and I got the multi-tester out, and there was a dead short to ground on the 5-volt input. So I suspected this cap here, which goes straight across the 5-volt line to ground, but that tested fine, it wasn't shorted. And it was this one here, it was this decoupling cap right next to the pokey chip. I think it's a decoupling cap for the pokey chip, is it? Yes, it is. And when I moved that out of the way, I managed to bridge the legs on the bottom of the board, so it was a dead short to ground. It was actually 0.01, I think it was about 3 ohms to ground, sorry, 3 ohms to ground short. So once I moved that, everything worked again. But then the next thing I noticed, which is odd, because obviously the owner sent in a second pokey for this job, is that I must have accidentally put the second pokey, when I removed the stereo board, I put the second pokey in the socket just to test that the machine worked, and it automatically presses the L key all on its own, because when I powered it up it went straight into the loader. Now I suspected the socket, but when I put the old pokey in, that doesn't happen. So this pokey chip is beginning to look a little bit suspect, but we shall see. And if it works as a second chip just to try to drive the other audio line, then that's fine. So the little LEDs are covered up by the shrink tubing, but I mean you can't really see them anyway. It's underneath the ultimate board, so I don't think it's any great loss. But if I don't think I'll need to raise this up, but I was fairly committed to using these black standoffs as well that I bought. I think they look quite cool. And while I'm on, before I forget, I'll give you an idea of how this fits into the case. And I also cheated, and while I was off air, I fitted most of the jumper wires that are needed by the VBXE and the stereo board, because it's just a boring crimping job. But what I should do is take photographs of the board and label the hookup points. I can never remember the hookup points. I haven't documented them. I've got some fairly inventive places where I pick the signals off. I don't like to wire jumpers to the legs of chips, so I pick them off at various points around the PBI connector and that kind of thing. You can see there's one signal here, I forget which one it is. Maybe it's external select, or I don't know what. But it's a carbon copy of my board, which is this board, which is it keeps getting taken apart every time I want to do a copy of it, so I really need to photograph the board and label everything so I can stop taking that computer apart. Let's have a look at chat. 3 weeks ago, says Pensionaire, I installed the same set into an Atari 800XL. It was definitely easier. Yeah, you don't, let's have a look. Here's an 800XL board with similar stuff in it. This board, I'll just move this for a second. This board is a bit of a problem because where's the VBXE board? I'll just go and get it. Where is it? Where is it? This little fella here. I noticed these mentioned on the Atari Age forum tonight, so I thought, what the hell? Yes, this. I had two of these. One of them met its end with a hammer, I'm afraid. This VBXE, everything worked fine in this machine until I changed the ultimate BIOS, the way it detects a VBXE. It uses the AVR chip, which is an Atmel, I can't read it, but the Atmel chip, and this detection method exposed this board as being, well, I'm blaming this board. A Atari VBXE works fine, but on this particular machine, if you have a side cartridge connected, the new detection method doesn't work. So I'm trying to figure out why that is. But anyway, there's the 800XL. I don't know if this resembles yours in any way. Ian Rolfe, hey Flash, glad to catch you live. I'm thinking of installing an Ultimate 1 megabyte my old 800XL. I found my mother's loft. Yes, well, go for it. I think I've done 800XL videos. The 600XL I think is the only one I haven't covered in detail. And I haven't really covered this one in detail because I've done half the work off camera. But yeah, a bit disappointed with this machine. But we'll see if we can figure it out. I'm going to give this board another chance, but there's something different about it that is causing a problem. But anyway, I digress. So let's put this back. And I love the 600XL so much, I might take this stereo board out of it and put it in that one actually. We'll see. Anyway, yeah, on the back of the machine we've got the DIN 13 jack, which is the, I wish that had become a standard for RGB out in these computers, but what can you do? So that's where the RF modulator used to come out of the machine. So I've widened that hole a little bit, it's turned out nicely, lined up good. And on the underside of the board, everything about this machine is just a way of demands some method of overcoming space problems. If we look on the bottom, that's the underneath of the DIN connector. So we drilled a little array of holes here to suit the connector, and there's two anchor pins at the front there, which I'm going to brace with a strip of metal, which will prevent the connector from pulling off. But we've got I think a power trace and a ground trace possibly, and two important signals which had to be severed here because there was just no way that these pins were going to miss these traces, so they had to go, and they've been jumpered like this. And there's the hookups for the chroma and the luma, which aren't connected in the factory, so there we go. So by the way, new ANTIC socket, POKI socket, operating system ROM socket, which is now at the back, as I explained in the previous video. There's a jumper on this board, which I can't actually see now. It's under there somewhere. Well, they're there, yes. Right next to my finger here. And by changing those jumpers, you can move the operating system ROM socket back from its normal position to where the basic ROM used to be, which we no longer need because of this. As you can see, there's now a 28-pin socket at the back, and Atari thoughtfully provided 28 holes for said 28-pin socket. So that enables this whole contraption to actually fit. But it was still difficult, primarily, well, solely because of this U switch. So that just about brings you up to date with where we are. And I've talked so long, I'm probably going to run out of time. So we need to do the last couple of things to this board. We've jumpered there, we've connected 5 volts and ground from the pins of the pokey chip. And what I'm going to do now is replace these headers because they need to be upright. So let's get on with that. Get my trusty blue tack and crack on and see how far we can get. But the crimping stuff is just super boring. I need to do a crimping session as well because I've started to replace the where's the keyboard? Where's the keyboard? There, right. Yeah. I've started to do this on XL keyboards. Those old flex cables are just junk after 35 years. There's hardly one in the house that doesn't have some break in it, or so what I've bought myself some 20-way connectors and 4-way connector. I really wanted a crimp connector. If anybody knows where you can buy a 24-way crimp, a single row 24-way crimp connector, much like the one you'd see on the 1200 XL. I don't know how many pins that one is, but it crimps onto it would be a 2.54 millimeter pitch ribbon cable. So, but you could use 48-way ribbon cable and just ignore the every other wire, but it would be much easier than having to crimp all of these things. So then you could just replace the ribbon, crimp the connector on, and there you've got a new durable keyboard connector. So I've started to do this on all of the boards, and there's the keyboard connector on the motherboard. I just completely lost patience. Now I know there's no current limiting resistors on this, but I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, that it shouldn't blow the traces on one of these keyboards. But if I had to reintroduce the current limiting resistors on that little adapter board, I'm sure I could figure out a way to do it, but there you go. So let's get this on. And then after this, probably tomorrow, we've got Jürgen's Super Color CPU card, which is going on a 400. So I'm quite looking forward to doing that. I've posted some photos of that 400. I'm not going to get into that now because I'll try and focus on this, but so we'll fit the Super Color card in a 400 and see how that looks. I'm expecting great things because this is TFHH, Jürgen, if you don't know his screen name, and his video board for the 400 and the 800, it basically includes a verbatim version of Brian's UAV board, and as we know, the video output from that is really superb. Okay, so there we go. we've got our pins, so we can go ahead and push this in here and hook things up. I'm not looking forward to doing the RGB monitor jack, I have to say, because there's yeah, the pinout deviates from what I'm used to a little bit, so I can push these on because I've already done them. That's the 4-pin header, left and right audio. We're not going to bother with the LED, so that's in. We'll fit these in the hope that everything's going to work. Now, I haven't done these videos for a while, but I have to admit it's strangely sort of motivational, because when I was preparing for this one tonight, I seemed to get things done a bit quicker, because I wanted to get the desk clear for this, so it's kind of good. So next thing we'll do the VBXE. Let's get this VBXE put in, and then we can go about the miserable business of this should work. This should power up now, I think. Let's give it a try. So let's tempt fate and try and power it up again. It should work, because the stereo board's in. We can fit this. Now the Ultimate 1 megabyte, of course, controls the stereo on this machine. So we have our 5-way DuPont connector. One of the wires, and I've forgotten to solder. That's what I've forgotten to do. Right. Take this back off again, because I forgot to solder the wire on. Right. The last thing we need to solder onto here is the wire, which is going to go to MO on the Ultimate 1 megabyte board. Alright. We're going to come in from the bottom here, I think. I think so. Such useful stuff, this. Clip that as well, because we're trying to keep as low profile as we can. Okay, so that's in. I'll reroute these wires later on. I just want to get things plugged in for now. Right, then we're in there like that. Then we'll slide this underneath. Push it home. There we go. There, that's going to have to move this wire. It just looks a mess. Maybe it can go around the back or something, or underneath. I would say probably under there, actually. If we lift that up, yeah, we can go around there like that and fit that like that. So that looks pretty reasonable. And pop that in there. Like so. There we go. So we don't have the left and right audio hooked up yet. That's this one here. So let's power up and see what happens. Oh, we are powered up already, yeah. So we go to S video, turn her on. Nothing. I think the antic sockets, the antic chips popped out a bit. Marvelous, marvelous. Yeah. Yeah, that's the video cable. Yeah. Try plugging it in first. Let's try that again. Oh, it's still not working. Ah, marvellous. Take this out again. I wonder if it's this pokey chip. I wonder. Get you out of the way, you're not going to help. Ah, just love it. Right, what's the matter with you? Full of surprises, this machine. Capture card working. Dead again. Can't be the same power issue, surely. Because the possibility is that one of these jumper wires I've soldered on somewhere has introduced a short. It's always a possibility. Grab a keyboard. Grab a keyboard with some wires on it. Stone dead. Oh, hang on. Oh, God! Oh, yeah, not plugged in under the desk. I was trying to fix a power supply earlier on and unplugged the adapter and forgot I'd unplugged the adapter. Oh, God. Right, let's try that again. Rewind, erase. Let's try again. You're kidding me, aren't you? Oh, this has got a short again. This is weird. This machine keeps getting a short on the 5-volt line. Why? Very strange. Let's have a look. Is it the same place? It is. It's the same place. It's this damn capacitor again. Alright. So the same capacitor that was causing problems before is doing so again. So let's get some flux on here. Ah, is it actually the leg? It's like the leg's bent across. That's what it is. Snip that off. It's actually the leg of the capacitor on the side that had been lowered when I was twisting it was touching the other trace. There we go. So now, fingers crossed, it should power on. Oops. Oh, come on, you've got to be kidding me, aren't you? I wonder if one of these, hi Mopes. 1, 2, 3, son, you are tired. Am I? I might look tired, but I feel okay. Pensione, my friend from the team saying, it's IT, nobody died. Oh yeah. Right, I'm curious to see why we're getting a short on the pokey socket when the short on the board has been cleared. I think it's been cleared anyway. Let's double check. Let's have another look. Ah, now that's interesting. I'm still shorted, so let's take this off and see if we can trace this short. I knew this routing wires was a bit premature, but never mind. Right, let's get this off. And let's test for the short again. Very peculiar. $260 ohms. That's not right. I wonder if it's just a bad cap. $300. 40 ohms. See if the power supply flashes. Now we've got a steady green light in the power supply. Okay. Let's do things one at a time. Let's put one pokey chip back in. Let's see if we can eliminate this problem. That's quite really odd. Have we still got a solid green light in the charger? Yes, we have. Good. So, does this mean we're going to get a picture? It does, but it's upside down. My God. Something. I must. I bet I've put the Antic chip in the wrong way up. That's probably what it is. The Antic chip, as we can see, the Antic chip is in upside down on this machine. And if I'm to rotate it around 180 degrees, the picture will, well, of course, that's not true. I think I've just got to transform on this scene. There we go. Right. So let's gradually start putting things back until we figure out what was causing the problem. There we go. Get this out of the way. Plug this in. Right, everything's back in place now. So let's see, do we still get a picture? Do we still get a short? Ah, interesting. Back on the short again. This is peculiar. Let's take this second pokey chip out. Still shorted. Right. Could it actually be the pokey board itself? Is there a short on these wires? Let's see. Over here. Yes, there is. Right, there's a short between. That's interesting. There's a short between 5 volts and ground on the bottom of the pokey board. Let's have a look at the reference board on here. Double check the wiring. That's fine. Wow, that is weird. Weird. Right, so the wiring's correct. Why have we got a short? So quickly, reanimation says pensionné. Yeah. Why is there a short there? We're more syrup here, says Mopes. How the hell is this shorted together? Are these two pins shorted? How? What the hell? Which one's ground? That one. Right. So ground. That's ground. Right. This is weird. Very strange. What's Please don't be something under here. So 5 volts VCC is that one there. That should not. That's connected there. VCC. Why are you connected to that? Right. Another look at that board again. Might as well take this out and keep it out, because we know this one works. So so there should be nothing there, which there isn't. So on this board we've got there's a short. Oh damn it. This is exactly what I feared. Yeah, we've got a short under here. Marvellous. Right, I'm going to need this. Ah, Tez is here. Hi Tez, how are you doing? Yeah, you're absolutely correct, as I've just figured out here that there is a short in here, which is fantastic. So how are we going to deal with that? I don't really want to take this off either. I mean, making the assumption that it's the short is on this connection here, but that's not necessarily the case. Of course, it could be somewhere else. Could be a short on the board. Hope we can kind of flow it out. I think I have a spare board here. I'll try and figure out what's what. So the pins we've got the short on is this one and this one here. So where should this go? This goes Where do you go? It shouldn't be connected to anything. Yeah, you're connected to nothing. He's connected to... That's annoying. I think this is going to have to come off. Okay. Let's take it off. This is going to be fun. That's why I hate hard soldering stuff onto a board like this. Really detestable. Come on. I'll put you on here. It might be easier to get it off. Oh, there we go. Traces have survived as well, by the looks of it. Right, it's off, so let's have a look. Pensione. I had a similar situation. The issue was because of lack of additional connection with Ultimate 1 megabyte. Right. This is quite interesting. Where did the leg go here? Completely missing a pin. Okay, now we can test this again. So where we were here, let's see if we've cleared the short. Outfoxed by a stereo board. Alright, so it's got rid of the short. No, it has not got rid of the short. What the? Oh, this is weird. How the hell can there be a short? Is there a short on the... This is weird. So we can pretty much rule out this connection here, because I've taken this off and there's still a short between... Well, wait a minute, let's take this wire off as well. So this is VCC. Yes, so let's take this VCC wire off here and see if we still get a short. And we don't. Ergo, the short is in here. Is this U-switch board completely shorted out? Let's clean it up and have a look. I think we'll have to take this shrink tubing off as well so we can investigate what is going on. Never really had a problem with one of these little boards before, so I'd be surprised if it was defective. More than likely it's something to do with all the shenanigans that we had to go through to get the thing fitted, but we'll find out. And I can always use the spare if necessary. Quite happy to do that, because these are only cheap devices. Let's have a close look. I wish I had the little electronic microscope set up so we'll have a look, use the camera. Actually, you see better on the camera than I can with the naked eye. So let's see. Oh, nasty hair. So let's have a look. And any reason why we'd have a short between VCC and which pin? That pin right there. I bet it's gone now as well. And it is. Oh dear God. So yeah, it's VCC and that pin there. In fact, there's no continuity with any of them, which is how it should be. So the board's fine. Maybe there's some shit under the shrink wrapping, says Mopes. Yeah, yeah, God, it's just odd. It's just weird. That's quite strange. Or I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. Now, somehow we've got to sort this mess out as well. Am I missing a leg here? That's gonna have to go. Awful, awful, awful job. Right. Need this. Need my blue tack. Yeah, that's what happens when you try and think ahead and expect the worst. I need to buy flux as well. Try to do it right and possibly made it worse. Never mind. Let's see if we can get this, whatever is in this. There we go, nice clean job. So that's gone. So let's clear that one. The rest look sort of okayish. I don't really want to take these out again. I cleared these about 3 times trying to figure out how to fit this thing. So I don't really want to take them out again if I can avoid it. But we're going to need a pin one way or the other. Did you wire D4 to the stereo pokey board? Says Pensioner. Yeah, that's on this end connection here. But I unplugged this and it was still having problems. So Let's put a pin in here. This is fiddly as hell. Really, really fiddly. There we go. He's in. It seems to me this is the most logical place where we're going to have problems. Right. That's even more or less straight. Good. I have to clear everything off this as well. Shut up. Okay. Everything I've done for the past week or so has just been sheer hell on earth. Right. Of course, I bet this won't fit on here anymore. I'm going to have to replace the legs on this thing. I'm not even sure it's going to survive. Maybe you should try to use the SPB without U-switch in order to find issue. I think we found the issue. I'm not entirely sure, but that's a reasonable suggestion to just try it now and see if the machine powers up. It's a good idea. So let's do that. Okay. second chip in as well. Good idea. Right. And it works. So, as Pensionnet suggested, we've completely eliminated everything. So it has to be this. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. Now, I think I'm going to have to remove these legs again. It's only the only way to do it. I'm kind of starting fresh. Oh. And I'm pretty sure one of these little wires is on its last leg, so it's going to be... I think I'm going to have to sit with the jeweler's loop and work on this thing. Wow, caught out by something as simple as that. So I think with that in mind, I think I will do that in the morning, because it's almost 10 PM here and the light is fading. So yes, interesting one. So I was going to dive straight into that 400 tomorrow night with, well, I will show you the board actually, if I can remember where it is. Where is it? Oh, it's getting crazy in here. Absolutely crazy. Ah, here it is. Ah, here it is. I'll give Jürgen a plug. There we go. That's upside down. Supercolor CPU card. So that's what's going to go in this 400 once I get this fella sorted out. Replacement CPU card for Atari 400 and Atari 800 computers. Special thanks to Brian for sharing his great UAV solution. So I'm pretty sure the video is going to be fantastic off this thing. What's in the bag here? Oh, it even gives you a video cable, which is nice. What kind of cable is this? What's this here? Oh, that's nice. Is it? Oh, that, wow, brilliant, excellent. Didn't realise you actually got a... Oh. Pocket ground SIO. Ground, Luma, Chromas, composite video ground. Wow! Fantastic. So you get cables for everything. But of course I'm not using that jack, so I'll have to wire it up differently. But I can use this one, of course, for the internal connections. It's superb. So that is going to go into this machine here. Let's turn this off. This fellow here. I can't really see because of the dreadful light, of course. And show you where the jack is on the back of this thing. Get it in front of the camera. Oops. Get it in front of the camera. Where are you? There you are. There we go. It'll be lined up better when the shield's on, of course. There you go. So that's the jack. I posted some photographs of this the other day, but you can have a look to see how it's actually mounted on the back here. That's where the channel switch used to be, and obviously ground all the traces off the bottom. They aren't needed anymore. So I'll wire those signals across to a connector so the power board can still be taken out. So that's the next exciting project, and a couple of dead XEs and some other stuff. But yeah, well, what a disappointment to still be messing on with something as simple as a U switch board. But it's yeah, I should have realised this would be a bit of a bugger. But there we go. So anyway, yeah, been a funny old day. So hopefully we'll get this one fixed and finished tomorrow, and then we'll press on with the 400. If not tomorrow night, then shortly thereafter. So thanks for everyone who came in chat, and thanks for the suggestions and the ideas, and I hope you enjoyed it anyway, and I'll see you in the next video. So bye bye for now.